Gents, a lot of men these days do not value themselves as much as they should, and as a result, they accept any form of treatment from modern women just to get a sniff of some wet vice grip. We love to place the accountability and blame on women for their bad behavior, but what about the men enabling these women to treat them like dirt? Think about it, gents. If men respected themselves and would not tolerate BS from the woman they were dealing with, then could these women talk to and treat them poorly? I want you to really think about this long and hard because we teach people how to treat us at the end of the day. So if we accept people talking down to us and taking us for granted, then that's how they are going to treat us because that's the standard we set for ourselves. Men tend to be reluctant to worship God and claim that God doesn't exist, and that's cool. I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. But let me ask you this, why do I see men online and in real life actively choosing to worship the divine feminine over God and think that's okay? There are men online right now buying a woman's farts in jars and doing God knows what with it, so I can see why men get treated like second-class citizens. Would you respect a man that bought your waste product for top dollars just because you are a woman? So again, men are worshiping women and proudly claiming God doesn't exist. I want you to put things into their proper perspective. Men would prefer to degrade themselves and worship someone just as imperfect as they are, but to worship a being that may or may not have created this world or exist is a no-go. You see what I mean? And I'm not talking about you guys watching this video and as a part of our community. I doubt any of you guys are still putting women on a pedestal because putting someone above you is the same as worshiping them. But I see men buying women's bathwater, feces, breast sweat, and so on. I mean, what the F, brothers? But going to church or whatever religious building is not in the realm of possibility. I don't go to church and I'm not a Christian, but I would choose to go to church 7 days a week than to buy and consume a woman's feces and bathwater any day. With that said, we have to bring this argument back to the original point to make you understand why you guys get treated by garbage. If men are willing to go to the lengths of worshiping women just because they have a wet vice grip between their legs, then do you expect them to treat you respectfully? The women selling farts and breast sweat in jars, I guarantee you don't have a shred of respect for the men who actually buy and request these products. Again, you teach women and people in general how to treat you based on the standards and boundaries you place on your relationship with them. But thirsty monkey simps will openly worship women and give up his life for a woman, but would never worship a god. Some men have been deleted over trying to save a damsel in distress, and he wouldn't be caught dead on his knees thanking God for life and waking up to see another day. So again, I'm using religion to open your eyes to why men get disrespected in today's society. This worshiping of women is sick, in my opinion, and I'm thankful that there are men out there that went their own path against that BS. The men that decided to opt out of relationships gave men another option than to follow the men that are out here worshiping women, so be grateful for those men. If men didn't go their own way and put women in their proper perspective, most of us in this sphere would have probably been simps because we wouldn't have known any better. I remember a point in my life when I couldn't see myself not having a wife and kids because everybody around me was chasing relationships and women. It's because wise men realized the juice wasn't worth the squeeze and walked away from women. That's how I knew I didn't have to spend the rest of my life in relationships. And in the last video, I said the only purpose that modern XXs have is to lie on their backs and extract our resources, and if you look around us, you'll realize how useless most of them are. But you won't come to that realization if you're on the hamster wheel of trying to bust a nut and get into relationships. With that said, let's talk about how you flip the script on women and properly test if they are a good fit to be with you long-term or short-term. Because I must be honest with you guys, you should not enter every woman's body that makes it readily available to you, and that is something you might learn the easy way or the hard way. I recently had to learn that. Hopefully, it didn't come with any long-term consequences just to discover that brutal truth. Guys who have had a pregnancy or an STD scare will know that some women must be tested thoroughly before you enter their bodies, and trust me, after you've caught the itchy scratchy or got her pregnant, you can't reverse that ish. So again, you either test before entering or just assume the worst and proceed with protection or walk the hell away. Now, to test a woman means you are looking for specific things about her that can either qualify or disqualify her from being a viable option for you to sleep with or be in some form of a long or short-term relationship. This is important because the goal is to vet and snuff out the red flags she is hiding in her closet of skeletons just waiting to bust right out and F up your life. Women do this to men all the time to see if you are a real man or a sucker, and how you respond to her tests will determine whether you get the guts or she leaves you. Well, they will leave you regardless, but she is testing to see if she should leave you sooner rather than later. Always remember that women are temporary and should not be taken seriously. So to test modern women, the first level is to start asking the tough questions about their past, and don't be afraid to discover what they were doing before they met you. These could be questions like, have you ever done drugs or excessive alcohol before? Have you ever had an STD or pregnancy scare? Have you ever terminated a kid because you couldn't afford to raise the child? Have you ever cheated on your previous exes? Have you ever done a threesome or an orgy? Have you ever had a sugar daddy or sold some stank to pay your bills? Do you have any hidden tattoos or piercings? Have you ever been in a relationship with a drug dealer, scammer, or criminal? Have you ever put your ex-husband on child support? You ever been to jail or prison? Have you ever deleted somebody? Have you ever robbed a building or somebody before? Do you have student loan debt? Are you in debt right now or living paycheck to paycheck? Have you ever been charged with physically or sexually abusing someone? Have you ever been raped before? Are you currently taking drugs for health purposes or mental health? Are you suffering from depression, anxiety, or any mental illness? Are you suffering from any terminal or long-term illness? Have you ever been bankrupt or homeless? And the list goes on and on. I guarantee you that most men have not asked 50% of those questions to any woman they've been dealing with. So are you surprised when she flips out on you or gives you the itchy scratchy? All of these questions should be asked before entering a woman's body, but I know that most men won't do that, so at least ask those questions before you plan to commit, which I don't recommend, by the way. And you don't ask these questions back to back, or she'll start to wonder why you're asking so many questions and start stonewalling you. Just let it flow naturally in the conversation and keep notes of everything she says. Also, as a tip, never give women any private or important information about your life and yourself. They will use it against you to blackmail or get one over you, so always stay as mysterious as possible. Tell her nothing. Now back to questioning women, the key to successfully pulling this off is not having a shred of judgment no matter how horrific and tragic her past was. Always remember to ask the tough questions, leave any judgment you might have out of the conversation, and just let them talk. This is how you'll find out some of her bad decisions before meeting you. And always expect that she is going to lie. Tell half-truths and lie by omission with everything she says. But let her speak without interrupting her. And I guarantee that she will spill enough beans to give you an indication of whether she is too toxic, or if you can still hit or have her around for the short or long term. And for you hope strategists who can't stay out of relationships, her past 100% matters. If you don't know her past, then you can't anticipate her future, so always remember that. The final level of testing modern women is to put them in the situation where you want to see how they'll react and watch their ass fumble the bag. This could be giving them the option of drinking alcohol or taking drugs and watching what they do. This could be leaving money freely around the house in spots with a camera and watching what they do. This could be allowing her to go on girls' trips and girls' nights out with her friends and make a private investigator watch their goofy butt. This could be setting up someone who knows what he's doing to test to see if she will stay faithful to you and so on. All of these are tests that most men don't put women under throughout the course of their relationships and marriage, but you trust them blindly. So are you surprised when she stabs you in the back or reveals who she really is? Men, you should constantly be testing to see who the real person you want to get involved with is. If she claims she doesn't smoke out the weed, and you carry a spliff in the bedroom for both of you to smoke, and she gives in, that is a red flag, and she should not be trusted. It's that simple, but you guys refuse to test these women. I want you guys to listen and listen well. You cannot force someone to do something they really don't want to do unless there is a threat. That's typically how people will respond to your demands. So if your woman gives into doing something, it either means she has done it before or part of her wanted to do it. So always put them in a situation that will expose who they really are behind that mask and watch how they react. That's how you successfully test a modern woman to see if you should slide your salami in her wet vice grip or abort the mission. When you combine this with asking the tough questions, I guarantee you that you'll run to the hills with most of the modern women you mess with. The things that you will find out will let you know if you can trust this individual or not, and make you realize women ain't ish. If you enjoyed the video, tap the thumbs up button and subscribe for more hard-hitting RP content. Share the video with someone who needs to hear this message so we can save another man from the plantation. If you want to donate to the channel, the links to our PayPal and Cash App are in the description box below. Even $1 will be appreciated. And remember, gents, never worship the modern woman.